Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we are talking about gardening for the next little while. I know it's a weird season. I see a lot of people are already getting the spring fever. This weather we've had this past week got their juices going. Pineal gland is starting to swell up, making us want to get out and do stuff. But a little bit early, there's some stuff we can be doing, and we'll be talking about that. Some things that you really ought to be doing this time of year if you've got a garden, but also just some stuff to think about. But most important, it's all about you. If you want to give us a call and talk with us about whatever is going on in your garden or on your mind, or you're thinking about doing, or you try something that really didn't work that well, we'll talk about all that stuff. But meanwhile, let's kick this off by saying good morning, Sir Java. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing fine, Felder. How you doing in that gallimaufry?
The gallimaufry. You know, there's two interesting words that sort of describe my garden and gardens like mine, what we call maverick gardeners. Jumbled medley, a hodgepodge, stuff all mixed up every which way. That's what a gallimaufry is. But there's another that starts with a G. It's from an old a poem called God Watery. God Watery. It means sort of a garden that's got what we call twee stuff. You know, it's got little gnomes and windmills and, you know, cute stuff. And but mine's not so much a God Watery. It's a true gallimaufry. What the heck is going on in there? But gardeners know. We know what's going on in their yard. So anyway, oh man, I got plenty of stuff to yak about, Java, but this is a call-in program. I'm hoping folks give us a call. I've got a fella who supposed to talk to him in a little bit, a little interview with a fellow who said that something that we did on MPB years ago sort of changed his approach towards stuff as far as gardening. Told me this morning he had an MRI at 7 o'clock, so he may be here at 9:30. He may be a little bit later. But anyway, we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. So if you got something on your mind, give us a call. It's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. Java, this studio's got all sorts of balloons and Mardi Gras. It looks like a smash up of Mardi Gras and Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, Jermaine Flood, host and producer of Next Stop Mississippi, she really follows the seasons. And, you know, Valentine's Day is coming up on Saturday. Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday is coming up on Tuesday. I believe it's the 17th. Right after President's Day on that Monday, so she wanted to celebrate both events, both holidays, and that's why the studio is dressed up like it is.
Well, hey, have you been following the Olympics? They're going on right now, fast and furious.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I haven't been able to watch, you know, like I guess I would the Summer Olympics. Also, it's on the other side of the world, so everything is on different time schedules.
Yeah.
But I love the snowboarding.
Yeah.
We got silver. I know we got silver in that. And just, yeah, it's a little bit. I know Lindsey Vonn had a big crash.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were talking at the pub the other night, you know, pub talk, and we were laughing, and we came up with some ideas. If they were having those Winter Olympics here in the South, you know, have you been watching curling? You know what curling is?
Yeah.
I mean, it's real slow motion. This thing, they're sliding across the ice and brushing it to make it go different ways.
It's one of those events where people really think like, I could be an Olympic curler.
Yeah. And they're real serious about this. But anyway, we were coming up with if they were going to do that in the South, we don't have ice. So what would we call curling here?
I don't know.
The general consensus is when you take a pony, a little pony beer, and this is back when you could drink and drive. When you're driving down the road and you take one of those empty beer bottles and you throw it over the car to try to hit a stop sign. That's called curling. You have to curl it over the car and hit a stop sign. It ain't me, man. It's just I'm just sharing what the
wildest part of what you just said was back when we could drink and drive.
Oh yeah. Well, those the bad day. It was pretty bad, but anyway, there's some stuff going on this week. This past weekend we had a really nice turnout for the rose pruning and rooting thing at the Greenwood Cemetery.
Yeah, how was that?
We probably had 40 or 50 people show up.
Oh, wow.
And got it all done. It was real nice, but a lot of people say, when you prune roses is Valentine's Day or George Washington's birthday, whichever, they're just looking for something to help them remember. And basically, this is the month for pruning roses. And we didn't cut these shrub. These are big shrub roses, things like knockouts and some of the antique roses. You don't cut them back really, really far. You just sort of shape them up. And we took some of them down by about a third. We just cut them back so they have real strong new growth and be balanced. But if you've got hybrid teas, those kind of things, they're cut back to 1.5 feet or so tall, And you just cut out all the dead stuff and cut everything back to where it looks like deer antlers when you're done. Think deer antlers, and that's what the hybrid tea. I would mention this, though. The question came up about pruning Peggy Martin, which is the climbing rose. Climbing roses bloom in the spring on what grew last year. So things like Lady Banks rose, that real pretty early yellow one, Peggy Martin, a New Dawn, all these climbing roses. You wait till after they bloom to prune. Perfectly okay to prune in April, May, even June. But if you got climbing roses, let's don't whack on them too much, but go ahead and get out and cut on your other roses. I'm pruning my figs this weekend, too. I've got some figs that are, if I don't cut them, Java, they're going to get bigger. Don't you have a fig tree like over in your backside yard, or there used to be one?
Maybe one of the things that we want to take away, but I don't think I have a fig tree.
When you go through your garden around that end of your house, you got kind of a slope there. That'd be a good place to put some blueberries or figs or something, because the kids would like that.
Now we did try to do some blueberries, some grapes, but no figs.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those kind of things where either you like them or don't, but they're good yard plants. They make good fruit. And speaking of which, a week from this weekend, February the 21st, I'm going to have my annual home fruit workshop. I've been doing this for years and years and years at Hutto's Garden Centers in South Jackson off of Interstate 55, Ellis Avenue. I've been doing it every year. It starts at 9, and I cover all of it. The best types of fruits, because not all fruits grow in Mississippi. The best varieties of each kind, because not all varieties do well. We want to have things that are going to bloom right, not too early, not too late. They're going to be disease resistant, heavy production, that kind of thing. How to plant them, fertilize them, and prune them. It's usually pretty wild. We usually have a big crowd as indoors, a sit down, but come as you are, 9 o'clock next Saturday, February the 21st, at Hutto's Garden Center in Jackson. We always have a real good time. And then the only other thing I've got to mention here is, and this is coming up in about 3 weeks, there's going to be a camellia show in Brookhaven on March the 7th. And by the way, I made me a little bouquet. One of my favorite winter bouquets, Java. I'm going to hold this thing up, see if they can get this on the little Zoom thing. See if our live stream folks are awake back there.
Oh, you did. You made a little
bouquet.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a pink. This is an old camellia called Pink Perfection. It's got real pretty little flowers and double. And I got some red Nandina berries, and the sticky looking stuff, the long skinny stuff, is plant. It's a shrub that is kind of a scraggly look. This is the shrub that makes my hair look good, Java. I mean, it is a scraggly shrub, but it's called winter honeysuckle, and it's got real fragrant little small white flowers in the middle of the winter. You know, I saw this at the Eudora Welty House in Bellhaven in Jackson. But winter honeysuckle doesn't do much, just a big old generic bush. But when it blooms, it is so fragrant. And every warm day like we've had this past week, it is loaded with bees. So even in the wintertime, bees come out there hungry. So this is just a nice little combination. Camellia, Nandina berries, and if you don't have winter honeysuckle, you know, find you daffodils or something like that. It's just a real nice little happy. So many people, Java, are saying, I can't wait till spring. I'm thinking, well, you can't gather rosebuds right now. Gather ye camellias while ye may.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's how you pivot.
Yeah, every single month of the year here in the Deep South, we've got something to enjoy. So I'm just, you know, I'm an older guy, but I've always had this sort of a stoic approach. You know, take things as they are.
Yes, sir.
Instead of waiting, because you never know what's going to happen. Can't undo what used to happen. Can't, you know, we're already past that. A lot of the ice up north, but I shouldn't say that. They're still suffering.
Yes, sir.
And I know a lot of y'all listening want to have something bright to talk about. All I can say is, you know, just hang in there, because it's a lot of pain and suffering, but your yards will recover. I've seen a lot of ice storms. I've seen hurricanes and tornadoes. We'll get through this. If you have some questions about stuff you could do in your garden, if you've had a lot of ice damage or your shrubs are looking bad, you're not sure of, give us a call. We'll be glad to talk about that.
Yeah, give us a call, 1-877-MPB-RING, 1-877-672-7464. That's 1-877-672-7464. Now, Felder, you said you have your fruit seminar coming up at Hutto's. When is that again?
When?
Yeah, when?
The 21st, week from this weekend.
Okay,
February 21st.
So next Saturday. Now, I did get a question in our email, garden@mpbonline.org, and it's from Carolyn in Okolona, and she had a question about, can I cut a piece, and then she says branch limb, off of a pear tree and plant it? Will it grow and bear fruit?
Ooh, that's a good question. And the short answer is no. It is possible, but it's rarely done. Certain plants have got, you know, the stem. You cut a stem off, and what used to be just a piece of a twig, that cut in will make a little knobby growth on the bottom, and then roots will spring out of that. They have what's called preformed root initials. They're ready to go. A lot of trees don't. Oaks don't root well. Magnolias don't root well. Peaches, plums, apples. They don't root readily. They're usually grafted. Figs root real well. They root like ringing a bell on them. But it's really hard to root those things. If you have a favorite one that you really enjoy, it's a good one. It produces well. It doesn't have a lot of problem diseases. What you can do is go to a garden center and get any apple or pear tree, the cheaper the better, plant it, and then take some cuttings off of that your pear tree while it's still dormant, before it starts blooming. Take some cuttings about the size of a pencil, put them in a plastic bag, and put them in the refrigerator. Make them think they're still in the wintertime. Refrigerator temperature won't bother it. And then when the other tree starts to leaf out, when the sap's rising, when it starts to put out growth, then you can take the cuttings out of the refrigerator and graft them onto the other tree. Cut the other tree back and stick them on. It sounds easy. You just cut it off and stick a stick in the cut end. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but it's been done for literally hundreds and hundreds of years with people who don't have horticulture backgrounds. So grafting is going to be your best bet. If you're trying to save an antique one, I think it's good to go ahead and get an inexpensive one at a garden center and then plan on cutting it off and grafting your good one on the top. You need to take the graft wood this time of year, keep it in the refrigerator, though. Well, it's a good question. Good question.
Well, yeah, that was from Carolyn in Okolona, and she sent it in, garden@mpbonline.org.
By the way, it's been brought to my attention, Java.
What's up?
You know, people are watching this on the live stream. I don't know how y'all do it. Is it AI that puts the words at the bottom a little? What's it?
The closed captioning.
Yeah. Well, I got something was brought to my attention about that. We'll talk about that when we get back.
Okay.
Though. So it's real interesting. It's stuff you could be doing this time of year. Potatoes. Time to start thinking about English peas, lettuces, all sorts of things that like cool weather. This is a good month to, if not get started, at least think about it. A little bit early for tomatoes and peppers. I think I'd even wait till next month to start the seeds so you don't have long, leggy things to put out later. So if you got the spring fever, just cool your jets a little bit. We got plenty to talk about. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Java, folks at MPB, we're going to take a real short break and come back and see what's on your mind. Give us a call, won't you?
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you have hated, go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And Java, before I bring up the closed caption thing, let's see if we can get a picture thrown up here. Picture number 1. This is something my friend Faith Estes, a friend of hers, came up with a caricature of me. It's not the Muppet caricature. But
I saw this picture, and that's pretty good.
I mean, it's it's got my scraggly look. It's got Granny's chicken. Got my truck with the garden in the background. It looks like that I've lost quite a bit of weight in this thing. But other than that, it's really interesting. I've turned into a caricature in my old age.
Well, I would say that's not so much of a caricature. That's just like a whimsical drawing, whimsical rendering.
I guess. And if you're on live stream, you can see that. If not, I'm gonna post it on actually it's on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page. Anyway, back to the closed captions.
Well, hold on, Felder. Before we get to the closed caption, I want people to kind of be in suspense about that. Let's get to these phone calls.
Oh, okay. My thing in here is off. I can't see them.
Okay. Well, the first one up is John in Madison.
Good morning, John. How are you, man? What's up?
I'm good. Does your character look like a garden gnome?
No, it looks like an old guy in overalls with it looks like I'm holding my turning fork, and it's just a cheesy thing with me. But no, somebody actually carved a little wooden gnome of me with a little red hat and everything. I'd bring it in sometime. But anyway, what's up with you?
Well, I turned the radio down, so I missed part of what you said about starting seeds, but I have not done that in the past because every time I've tried, I get these long, leggy things like I heard you talking about. But I wanted to go ahead and start broccoli and some Brussels sprouts this year, and I bought on Amazon this little thing that had LED lights on a little plastic tray with a heating pad, and I'm really pleased with it, but the distance between the lights and the ground is like three, and the dirt's like 3 or 3.5 inches, and they still got leggy on me. What am I doing wrong?
Well, a lot of the LED lights they're not the same thing as real sunlight. Real sunlight's got all the wavelengths, and some of the LEDs do too. But it's just really important. It's not just the amount of light, but the intensity of the light. So I don't know whether your kid has got the right kind of lights or not. It should, but in general, if they're getting leggy, they're just not getting enough light. And another thing is, when they start seeds outside or in a greenhouse, they get breezes that move them around a little bit, and that strengthens the stem too. When you start them indoors and there's not any air movement, the stems tend to get real weak. They need to be kind of roughed up a little bit. Greenhouse growers use a fan to do that, but if they're getting leggy, it's just not enough light. It's just not enough light. That's about the only thing I can think of.
I set the timer on 8 hours of daylight, so you think 10 or 12 might?
Yeah. These plants, 6, 8 hours is a minimum. I'd give them, 12, 13, 14 hours if you can. They need a little rest at night, but the more intense, the closer the lights are to the plants, they're going to need at least 10 or 12 to get the most. 8 hours is a minimum.
Okay, I will give that a shot. And what I've started Brussels sprouts and broccoli. What else I need? You said tomatoes a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little early.
Time for,
it takes 4, 5, 6 weeks to get a decent tomato and pepper plants up, and we really don't need to plant those until April. I know a lot of people try to, they're just driven to be the first on the block, but the plants do better if you wait till April to set them out. So if you'll count back from that. Sometime late February, first part of March is about right to get those started. You can also plant potatoes right now. You can plant some of the English type or edible pod peas in the next couple of 3 weeks. See, so and lettuce. Lettuces too.
Go straight in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever
all my lettuce burned?
Do you ever
all my lettuce burned up in the frost? So
yeah. They like cool weather, make them sweet, but when they're small, that freeze will get. They don't like freezes. Have you ever pre-sprouted your pea seeds?
No.
This is a real simple trick. I don't have a picture to show right now, but I do it every year. You take the English or the edible pod peas, roll them up in a paper towel and dampen it, and just set it off to one side in the kitchen, and within 2 days, 2-3 days, they've got little roots. And that way you just go and poke them right exactly where you want them. It's just pre-sprouting. It's real easy. It takes the guesswork, and they sprout better in the warmth of the kitchen than the cold dirt out there.
I should have given that a try before I planted them all.
Yeah, live and learn, right?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate you.
You bet. Appreciate that. All righty. I got a red and a green, Java.
Well, we're going to hop over to the green and talk with Talbert in Cleveland.
Talbert, middle of the Delta, man. How'd y'all do in the ice storm?
Oh, it was pretty nippy.
Yep.
2 to 4 inches of ice and below freezing for almost 2 weeks.
People up north, they just don't
tree trimming.
They just don't understand ice like we have it. So anyway, what's going on in your yard?
Hey, Felder, I have a next level rabbit problem. Let me tell you, I put the peppermint oil, the Tabasco sauce out. They're just like, ooh, we like spicy. I got 4 boxer dogs, and they're in the window, growling and laying down. And the rabbits are like, "Yep, I'm cool out here. Watch me eat."
Yeah. Rabbits don't have.
And I can't get them. I can't get them away, and I'm near ready to call the Bubbas with the 22s and the Tannerite and take care of it. But help me out.
Rabbit, that's a tough one, and unfortunately, there's not much you can do, because they're not just in your flower beds. You can put a little fence, that little rabbit fence, and that'll help on those. But out in the yard and just, nibbling on the grass and the dandelions and stuff, not much you can do except get your trap or, just not much you can do. Let the dogs out and see what happens with that. But the dog's going to end up halfway, to boil before you catch them.
Yes, sir. And we've tried that one.
Yeah. Not much you can do. Wildlife is, it was here first, and it's just doing its thing and irritating us and our dogs.
Well, I have shifted some of what I plant to more rabbit resistant. They seem not to like my my zinnias near as much as
so far
dahlias and what have you. But,
yeah, so far. If it's flower beds, the easiest thing to do is just put rabbit fencing around it. This way, it's been done like this for hundreds of years. Rabbit fencing is there for a reason. It only has to be 1.5 feet or 2 tall, but that's going to be your best bet.
Do I need to bury it at all?
Bugs Bunny used to dig around and irritate Elmer Fudd, but most of our rabbits not going to do that. If you want to, you can bend the bottom of it and set it to where the bottom bent part is pointing outward so they stand on it rather than dig under it. So you don't have to bury it. You can just bend it out outward at the bottom. A lot of times that'll help. But that's going to be your best bet. Fence is about it.
All right. Well, I'll take a swing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good luck on it, man. Appreciate your call.
No.
Okay, Java, we got another one or what?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was it. Thanks to John and Talbot for jumping off the show this morning.
Yeah, and I'd like to get them if I could get Abram to put up picture number 4, because we're going into a break and we've got one of my buddies from the pub. This is a picture of Dr. Dirt. He used to be a co-host here. He passed away several years ago. Dr. Dirt and me. He's helping a little kid plant some all sorts of stuff, herbs and vegetables and flowers in a pot. We've been doing this a long time. We've been talking about kids. I usually end up my program, take a kid out, show them how to do what we do, and that's get dirty. So I just wanted to throw that out because our guest after our break is going to give us a little anecdote about the influence of that. I thought that'd be good. Anyway, the cry line, the words at the bottom. What do you call them?
The closed captioning, yeah.
Apparently, the AI or whoever's doing it, they don't understand Southern, and sometimes there's some funny-looking words. And of course, I have a thick accent, and I slur words, and I say and I scratch my head. But apparently, y'all need to find a Southern AI.
That is true, because that was one of the things that was discussed. Well, I mean, we decided to turn it on because, some people, they need that kind of, assistance.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there at first. But we have to do the auto-generate the closed caption because we're live. And, yeah, the Southern accent, some of the names, it's just...
Somebody needs to get on that. Maybe somebody here at MPB who does that stuff needs to develop a Southern interpretation of how we talk.
Yeah, because we're all over the place.
Yeah, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Anyway, we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. I would like to mention that last week several people called up and emailed me, said there are fragrant camellias. Somebody asked about that. And I don't have the names of them right now, but there are some fairly new hybrid camellias that are very fragrant. The camellias, of course, they're still blooming right now. They're not the harbinger of spring. They're the last gasp of the summer, of the winter. We got plenty of stuff out there that's blooming. There's some stuff you can plant. There's some things you need to think about planting. There's some pruning to be done. We have all sorts of things if you want to get out and do some gardening here in the Deep South. But we're going to take a quick break. Me and Java and Abram and all the other folks here at MPB. And we're going to come back with an interview of a fella I've known for years and years and years, and he came up with an interesting admission not that long ago, and we want to talk with him about it. Stick with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And, here's the middle of the winter, and not many people are thinking, but this warm weather and the birds singing and things like that, it affects our body in a weird way. It causes this tiny little gland in our brain called the pineal gland. It's all shriveled up right now for lack of stimulation. But what happens is it starts swelling up and it pumps these feel-good hormones that makes us want to get up and get out and do stuff. That's what spring fever is. It's actually a reaction. It's hormonal. It's a chemical reaction. We can't help ourselves. But it's making people want to start doing stuff. Well, I have a fellow that I've known for a long time. And he's one of my pub buddies, and we yak and, we do a lot of chin wagging stuff. And he told me a story the other night that I thought was worth sharing with y'all. Let's see if he's with us. Ted, are you with us this morning?
Yep, sure am.
Man, you've been hobbling around. You broke a foot or something like that, and as soon as it got fit, you broke the other one.
Broke another one. Yeah, it's something. It's something.
It's all right.
There's people in worse shape than me. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, we go way back, and we have. Yep. I had this thing we call pub talk. We get together and we talk about. We don't talk about religion and politics and all like that, but we talk about weird stuff. And you mentioned something to me because you're a grown man, and you got one of your friends. Yeah. Well, one of your friends, another knucklehead, and you have been doing a tomato contest. And tell me the story behind that. Java has not heard this before.
We started out when we were kids. Our parents used to have Mississippi Public Broadcasting just on the radio on in the kitchen and stuff like that, and. But we always listened to this guy named Felder that would talk about growing stuff. And
you need to get a life, Ted. So, even back then, you need to get a life.
We thought it was neat. We grew up in a time, where our grandfathers were influential in our lives, and we grew up in gardens and stuff. And so we started having a competition. We would listen to this guy named Felder, and what all he was suggesting to do in these little home gardens and stuff. And so we would grow tomatoes in our backyard, and it turned into a contest.
Now, this one of you and one of your knuckleheaded friends.
Me and one of my buddies. Yep. We're still best friends. Probably talk 3 times a week. And the tomato competition has continued for most of our lives. Still, we didn't do it 2 years ago. He had an issue with blight, and last year I wasn't able to do it. But we have literally been growing tomatoes and in a competition for most of our lives, and it's kind of funny that it all started. Everything's cyclical. It all comes back that we were listening to this guy named Felder, and we learned a lot from him.
Well, so I got to ask this: what are the criteria for the competition? First, biggest, what?
Okay, so it's 2 things. You had the biggest tomato.
Yeah.
like on weight and size, and then you had the number. So it's how many tomatoes you could grow, literally. So of course, the gardens got bigger and bigger, and so we could make that happen. But it started out from having several tomato plants to 30 and 40, and it kind of really really took off. And as you well know, it's not easy to have that many tomato plants.
I can't grow them. But I used to have you remember Coach from the Cherokee?
I sure do, yeah.
He and I used to have a tomato contest every week, every year. I would bring them in, and we would get some of the guys at the bar to taste them. And every now and then, he would win, and come to find out it's because they were Bud Light drinkers. They don't have taste to begin with.
They don't understand what a good beer is, do they?
No, so you go with linear stuff, size and number.
It was size and number, and we didn't do it this past year. I wasn't able to do it, but we're already starting to smack our lips about doing it again this year. So
y'all got favorite varieties of that trade secret?
Not really. I mean, I like the better boys, but it's when we were kids, it wasn't really as much about variety as we would go to the Bellhaven Pond and we would catch sunfish,
little brim,
and we would put 2 sunfish under each plant. And so our big thing was we didn't use pesticides. We didn't use 7 Dust or anything like that. But now, we're using Miracle Grow and other fertilizers. But that's how it all started out. We thought it was neat to do it like that, and it produced some really big tomatoes. And
I can say you were raised right, Sir Ted. And it's just and every week we did this pub talk thing. Witness for me. We'd talk about all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we talk about everything that is fun and that we can do something about, and we don't talk about the stuff we can't do anything about, which is usually religion and politics.
Yeah, so, but tomatoes, we got common ground there.
We got common ground in a lot of places.
Well, man, I just had to, Java just need to, we always in our program was take a kid out, show them how to get dirty. And apparently that must have paid off a long time ago.
Paid off a long time ago. And this guy named Felder on the radio was a little more influential than he probably ever thought he was going to be to a couple of little knothead kids growing up in Bellhaven. But, thanks, I guess, to you for that. And
well, all right, man.
Everything kind of worked out.
Listen, next pint's on me.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Okay, see you. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate it. That was Ted Buffkin. And you never know, Java. Never know. A couple of knucklehead little boys going down to the pond, catching fish and burying them and growing tomatoes.
There's power in this microphone, Felder. And you've been wielding it for a while now.
Long time. I mean, I've been on MPB here. The Gestalt Gardener probably goes back to 2002.
That's a long time, man.
Long time ago. Anyway, I wanted to show a picture. I know we've got the lines open if you want to give us a call, toll free 1-877-MPB-ring. But I want to put this picture up as picture number 5. If you're on live stream, you can see it. If you're not on live stream, go check it out sometime. Go to mpbonline.org or go to YouTube, and in the search box, put Gestalt Garden. And you can see this anytime. Well, this is the picture when my kids were small. In the wintertime, they had this spring fever was starting to make them jitter and they're bouncing off the wall. You know how kids are, Java.
I do.
And they couldn't do anything. So I took some spray paint, and out on the lawn, I spray painted a labyrinth. It's sort of like a maze, but a maze has choices. You go in, you go this way, you go that way, you get lost. Labyrinth, you go in and just go back and forth, follow it till you get to the middle, and you come back out. And we ended up mowing the part, and we spray painted the labyrinth with green spray paint, and then we mowed the path itself. So it just, and when the kids started again, we'd say, go run the labyrinth. And they'll go out there, and they would chase it. They could easily step over it. But it's just one of those real easy little things, and it's not hard to do. Labyrinths are real easy. You can go online and say how to do a labyrinth, and it shows. I mean, I can do one on a napkin at a bar. It's real easy to do one. But I just thought, it's important for kids, neighborhood kids, just to show them how to do little stupid things like that.
And you never know what was going on in their mind as they were running the labyrinth.
No.
It was all imagination.
They may grow up and say that they had toxic parents and all like that, but they know how to do a labyrinth. And then the last picture I want to show is picture number 6, and this really brings it home. This is my mother 30-something years ago, taking my daughter, little Zoe. Zoe was, she's 30-something now, but taking her out, and they didn't have anything to talk about, but she went out, she wiggled her fingers in the leaves, found an acorn, and picked it up and showed all she did was she took a kid out and bent over and just wiggled her fingers around till they found something to talk about. That's that real important connection. You do it with your kids, but you have to just get them out and just show them something. You don't have to know anything. Wiggle your fingers around, you'll find something. And just going to focus on it. These are the kind of things that may not stick with them then, but when they get older, they'll remember. So I think it's really important to teach new parents, children, new gardeners, how to do things and enjoy being outside.
They have this saying now, go touch grass.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that. Just go outside and touch grass. Get off your screen, and get off of your in front of the TV. But just go touch grass.
My dad used to say, "Go play in the street."
Alone with the people who were drinking and driving.
Well, this is a little small town there, but anyway, no, we spend a lot of time outside as kids, and I probably spend too much time watching, cheesy little things on my phone just to entertain myself. But I do make myself get out, get a little sunshine. This time of year, if you get out there and get a little sun on your arms, on your face, every chance you get, it helps build up your vitamin D. You start paying attention to little things, Java. You start hearing birds. The goldfinches are starting to turn yellow. The robins are, the worms are coming up because the ground's warm, so the robins are out there picking around. And I put a bird bath out in my yard. It's just really amazing how something simple like that, even if you can't get out, looking out through the window, it just connects you with stuff. So, and when Ted Buffkin said that we influenced him, all we're doing is just throwing stuff out there, just trying to create a community over the generations. That's all we're doing. And he kept saying this guy named Felder, but what he's really saying is MPB, connecting people like Felder and all the other folks here with local folks doing local stuff. I really appreciate that. Anyway, we don't have any calls right now. We got a line open. If you want to give us a call, it's toll-free 1-877-MPB-RING. There's some stuff about Mardi Gras we can talk about the next hour, and fire ants and nandinas and fruits, including one called Citrumello, which a lot of people may not know about. But we're going to take a little bit of a break and come back, and if you feel like giving us a call, lines are wide open. Toll-free 1-877-MPB-RING. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we got a Tiny Tim tune coming up in a little while, but give us a call. We're going to talk about what's going on or not in your yard. And if you get a chance to make a little bouquet, if you have to go to these camellias, Java, I stole from a neighbor's yard.
Make sure it's okay. Get permission first.
Yeah. I see. I wasn't raised right. We'll be right back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on MPB right after this.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Every parent wants their child to grow, to explore, and to dream big. At MPB, we're proud to support families and teachers across Mississippi with trusted educational programming and resources that inspire learning and spark imagination. From PBS Kids favorites to digital tools and early learning support, MPB is here for young minds, engaged classrooms, and families who believe in the power of learning at every age. Empowering families, inspiring learners. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years. Together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing here on MPB. We've got some lines open. You can give us a call. We got another hour to talk about stuff. And the nice part about having this extra hour for the Gestalt Gardeners, we can chat now instead of just knocking stuff out. So if there's some things on your mind, bring it up. But Java, have we got anything from the live stream?
Well, let me take a moment to check the live stream. I have been neglecting some of our friends.
Oh, it was an email. You said an email came pouring in.
Yeah, but also it was actually, well, we did get several emails, garden@mpbonline.org, but we also got a talk to us message from Pat. And if you don't have the MPB Public Media app, go ahead and download that to your phone, and you can leave us a voice note like Pat from Macomb, which I am going to play right now.
In to prune back my lantana. Thanks.
I'm going to play it one more time because the live stream probably didn't catch it on YouTube. So here we go.
This is Pat in Macomb, and I need to know if and when to prune back my lantana. Thanks.
All righty, that's good. I didn't know you could do that.
Yes, all from your phone.
So you don't have to go. You don't have to get the heart palpitations about calling, right?
And you may, if Felder say something you don't like.
Yeah, and it's a good question. Lantana is a perennial. Of course, it dies down in the winter and comes back up every year. Blooms all. One of the best butterfly plants you could put out there. You don't have to prune. I forgot what we were talking about. The
Lantana?
Lantana. You don't have to prune it at all. A lot of country folks don't ever do anything. But it looks kind of like a witch's broom out there. If you want to cut it back, go ahead and cut it back now. As soon as we get us a hard freeze, the top part dies down to the ground. There's one unusual thing. There's not very many unusual things in horticulture with certain plants. You shouldn't mulch irises, for example. But lantana, if you cut it back to the ground, those stems are hollow and water can run down them and can cause some decay. So it's important with lantana to leave some stubs 3 or 4, 5, 6 inches long. So cut it back to nubs. Don't cut it all the way to the ground, and it'll do fine. Matter of fact, if you poke around, you may even see some of the little new growth buds down at the bottom. My mums are doing that already. But anyway, don't cut it to the ground. Leave some little short, wiry stubs out there. How about that?
Well, that's all right.
You're right. Let's go to Jackson and see what's up with Jim. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Felder. I'm just joining the program now, so I don't know if you've talked about it already. But I know that at Greenwood Cemetery was a Rose Day last weekend. And my question is, could you talk to us about how to propagate roses from cuttings?
It's a good question. I did mention that earlier, and there was a lot of folks out there. This is the month to prune all roses except for climbers. The way I root roses, Jim, is I just take cuttings that are about the size of a pencil or smaller, not big old thick stuff, not little skinny stuff, but somewhere in the middle of last year's growth. I cut them off about the size of a pencil, and then I just stick them in the ground. I stick them in the ground between pansies and violas. I got a nice little flower bed with some pretty good dirt. I just stick them in between the pansies and violas, and when it's time to replace those in the spring with summer stuff, the roses are rooted. You can do them in potting soil if you want to. I think it's important. You don't have to use rooting powder. It does help a little bit. You don't have to use it. And you don't have to cover them up, but usually I take little plastic bottles, plastic water bottles or cola bottles. I cut the bottom off, and I throw the cap away, and I set it over the cuttings. It keeps it humid and a little bit warm, but lets steam out the top on a sunny day. So other than covering them up with some kind of clear bottle with the cap removed, it's mostly just sticking them in the ground. If you take cuttings and it may be a few hours before you root them, I like to make a new cut. And this is a stupid thing, Jim. I always cut the bottom of my cuttings at a sharp angle. It's not to help them root better, so I can remember which end goes, sharp end in the ground. But other than that, just sticking them in some dirt, and been my experience, and only about maybe 1 out of 3 are going to root for me. So I just stick 3 times more cuttings than I want. And it works. I'm doing some this weekend, as a matter of fact.
I wish you could see a picture of me right now, because on the lapel of my coat, I have a camellia blossom from the bush right outside my yard, and the bushes are just loaded with camellias this year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they vary from year to year. You know, pecan trees will vary from year to year. One year will be a heavy crop.
Yeah.
Next year, nothing. But our camellias this year are lush.
Yeah, we had, if you have a good summer, late summer and fall, if the weather's pretty good there, they set good flower buds. A couple of 3 years there, we had rough summers and falls, and the plants were weak, but it was good gardening year last year. Everything's jumping right now.
Thanks for your support of Greenwood, Felder.
You bet, Jim. Thanks for your call. I appreciate that. Jim, I've known Jim a long time. He's a professor, Dean Emeritus.
There you go, Emeritus.
Emeritus of the Emeritus.
You gave him over the United States.
That's right, of the MC Law School here in Jackson. We've got some lines open. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We've got to do some news and stuff. If you're on live stream, stick with us. I got a little thing to share. But otherwise, if you just stick with us, folks, we're going to do some news here at MPB, and we're going to come back with another hour. And this is the chance to really just sit back and chat. Chat with a horticulturist who's not a great gardener, but enthusiastic about it. I'm going to talk about chitting potatoes. And we're going to talk about just odds and ends, fire ants. I found a fire ant mound, and they had been moving all their dead. That freeze affected fire ants too, but it didn't kill them.
We also got some an email about the ice storm and how that's going to affect some of the plants and shrubs.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that as well.
All righty, folks. If you want to check out the live stream sometime, again, go to YouTube and in the search box put Gestalt Gardener. Might even be able to do Mississippi Public Broadcasting. I'm not sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Or else go to mpbonline.org, and you can see this anytime, 24/7. Our interview with Ted Buffkin, who was inspired as a kid to challenge one of his knuckleheaded buddies to have tomato growing contests, and lasted this year. Anyway, stick with us, folks. We're going to come back with more of the Gestalt Garden here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. My awesome producer, Java Chapman, live stream producers. We've got Abram, and I don't know if John C's back there or not.
Abram back there being Superman.
All right, being Abram Superman. And then after this program, of course, we got some more fun stuff on MPB. So stick with us, folks. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting right after this. All righty, folks. Those of you who are on the live stream and just wondering when we're going to come back, we're going to do a little bit of news. But while we're waiting on that, I thought I'd just share something from one of my books. It's called Slow Gardening. And slow gardening is a sort of a approach of taking it easy. First of all, the Gestalt approach. A lot of people want to know, why is it called Gestalt Gardener? Gestalt is really a slow gardening approach. It helps us find common ground and peace between horticulture science and gardening just for the love of it. It's all, everything's important. The Gestalt approach is everything you do matters. You're in control of your garden. You don't have to do what other people say. Anyway, it includes ways to get more gardeners into the fold by relaxing, even mocking some of the cherished gardening rules. Horticulturists say you got to do this, you got to do that, and you don't have to do all that stuff. Anyway, Gestalt approach allows a garden to be seen as a whole instead of just a lot of details and stuff to be done. And this brings me to this thing called worldview. Worldview is how do you see your garden and its place in the world? Some gardeners really prefer neatly organized landscapes, keeping everything clipped and coiffed and to reflect some kind of control over the surroundings, which we need. It's weird times. If you have a nicely neat mowed lawn, edged beds, you feel like you got a little bit of a grip. And that's important. It's like people who conscientiously make up their bedroom, even when nobody else see it. It gives us a sense of order, sort of a grip on the rest of the day. But a lot of other folks go for a more relaxed cottage style. It's kind of cluttered and random to outsiders. But some other folks have a sort of like a Zen-like mystical element. They like to share the aspects of naturalistic gardens filled with wildlife. All different approaches. If your choice of neighborhood doesn't reflect these kind of styles, if you live in an area where you can't just do your thing, you may end up having anxiety about what your neighbors think. And along with taking daily doses of anxiety medication, you might have to choose to modify your garden to better fit in with what's around you. Anyway, by adopting better gardening approaches, even in the face of criticism, you might actually influence folks around you to change their ways a little bit to reflect a better worldview. I'm giving a talk next week in North Carolina to a bunch of landscapers, lawn care people, and my approach is, how do we change this wall-to-wall grass and gumdrops hugging the foundation to have more variety, more seasonal stuff, and more important, make it wildlife friendly? Have some ways you could do that and get away with it. It's a real simple tricks, but the main thing is, if you'll just try something new, put your little group of plants, not just a row of things, but put a group of plants out there, a tree, some shrubs, some flowers, maybe some herbs or something, just a little small area out there. It's like a little floating garden. You can do this on a tabletop. You can do it in a patio with containers. But if you'll just try a little variety, mix stuff up, expect something to die, and just pull it up and stick something else in that hole, you're participating in a big, big thing called gardening. Gardening for you, not just for making your neighbors think what they want. Anyway, I just want to sort of throw that out, a little philosophical stuff there. We're going to get back to live calls about what's going on or not in your garden. And so stick with us. We'll be right back with more of that right here on Gestalt Gardener.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back to Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. It's a good day. It's a good weekend. It's been really nice and warm. I know folks in North Mississippi are still struggling, going to struggle for quite some time. Some folks are just, their gardens are devastated. My heart goes out to you. There's not much we can do right now other than just clear stuff up. But if you've got some questions about what to do in your garden, what's going on, how can you do things, give us a call. We got the lines wide open. It's toll-free 1-877-MPB-RING. Java, you said that we got an email, something about that.
Yeah, Tanya in Pontotoc has a question, sent it through the email, garden@mpbonline.org. And how will the ice storm in North Mississippi affect all the flowering trees, shrubs, and vines this year? Says we live in Pontotoc, and this has been on my mind. This has been on my mind as we approach spring.
Yeah. That's a good question, and actually, this is a little plant physiology here. Don't want to dive too deep, but the freeze, of course, can actually kill some flower buds. There's a lot of plants that are real tender. They can take frost, they can take freeze, but it gets really, really hard freeze. It stays there. That can actually kill some of the flower buds. It can kill entire plants. The most serious thing, especially on some vines, is sometimes the sap freezes right under the bark, and it causes the bark to split. This is a real serious thing. It happens on azaleas. It happens on cleara. It happens on it happened to my Asiatic jasmine. My star jasmine. But anyway, other than physical damage and actually freezing damage, it really doesn't affect stuff. How plants tell time, how fruit trees tell time when to bloom is what's called chilling hours. It's above freezing, but it's below about 45. It's refrigerator temperature. So when it freezes, the plants sort of stop right there. Above 45, they start actually growing. But that little area between the two, refrigerator type temperatures, the chilling hours, some plants need as much as 1,000 chilling hours before they'll flower. Cherries are like that. It's one of the reasons why North Mississippi can sometimes grow cherries because they get a long, not a cold enough winter, but enough chilling hours to do well. Some plants don't need many at all, maybe 300-400 chilling hours. And if you grow those up in North Mississippi, they get those 300 or 400 chilling hours within just the first couple of months. And so they're satisfied. And then the first warm day comes along, they think it's springtime and they flower. So it's really important with fruit plants in particular to choose varieties of your fruits depending on their chilling hours. If you live in North Mississippi, you need to choose varieties that, they all have this written. You can look up any variety of any fruit and it'll say, here's what the chilling hour is. You need, in North Mississippi, 700, 800, 900 chilling hours. If you get less than that, they're going to flower too early and freeze almost every time. If you're in South Mississippi, you need to choose varieties, and there are some, even apples and pears, that only need 200 or 300, 400 chilling hours, which means that even after a fairly mild winter, they'll bloom and do okay. Central Mississippi, 400, 500, 600. So if you go to msucares.com, MSU, Mississippi State University, msucares.com, and type in fruit plants, it'll have all the varieties and according to how many chilling hours. So North Mississippi, completely different types of apples and pears and peaches and plums. South Mississippi, completely different varieties. Again, chilling hours determine when a plant is going to flower or not. And that's more important than the otherwise serious freeze damage. So I hope that helps a little bit. We got a caller from Ocean Springs, Carol. Good morning, Carol. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
So far, so good. How's it? You got a nice balmy weekend down there, don't you?
Yes, good for Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Well, what you got going? No, wait, does Ocean Springs have a Mardi Gras parade, or y'all go over to Mobile or what?
We have one tonight, and we had one last Saturday a week ago.
All righty. Well,
we have them too.
I'd love to see Ocean Springs. You know those trees lining the main drag going from the Highway 90 down towards the. I bet those trees are loaded with beads.
They are. It's
Yeah.
funny how they hang up on the tree.
Yep. Well,
I have a question about lawns. I know that we don't want to fertilize yet, but what is the product to put on for the pre-emergent killing weeds?
That's a good question. Pre-emerge, put down, they kill weed seeds as they sprout. And this is too late for the weeds that bother us in late February, March, April, early May. They're already sprouted. It's way too late. You put the pre-emerge for those down in September, October, before they sprout. So the stuff that bothers us in February, March, and April, they're already sprouted. So you have to use what's called a post-emerge, which is something you spray on the plants after they're already growing. And by the way, you get much better control with a liquid spray than with granules. One of the reasons why I think weed and feed is a bad product. They have very small amounts of granular herbicides. It's just not that effective. Anyway, if you'll get a liquid spray, and before I recommend the type, keep in mind that 2 light sprays a week or 2 apart is a lot more effective than 1 heavy spray. A whole lot more effective. This is chemotherapy. You want to do it a little at a time and kill the problem without hurting the patient. We have 2 kinds of weeds out there, Carol. The grassy weeds like annual bluegrass called poa anna, little tufts of green stuff with small little white floral-looking things in them. What'll kill grasses may not kill broadleaf weeds like wild onions, dandelions, henbit, stickers. Most of our weeds are going to be broadleaf weeds, so you need to find something that's for broadleaf weeds, and it'll have on the label things like dandelions and clover. If it's got dandelion and clover, it's a kind that will control almost all broadleaf weeds, including stickers. So look for something that's for the lawn that says dandelions, clover, and that'll pretty well control the rest of them. 2 or 3 a couple of light sprays starting this month, and I think that'll give good control. And
Okay,
there's a bunch of brands. It's like ketchup. There's a lot of different brands, but on the label it'll say broadleaf weed control, and it'll have dandelions and clover on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, let me throw one other thing out. If you've got a lot of wildflowers, a lot of weeds, there's two things to consider. First of all, they are a symptom that your lawn is not very healthy, not very thick. If you'll sometime in April put out a good quality, slow-acting, long, gentle lawn food, just a fertilizer, in April, and if you'll raise your mower, you probably have St. Augustine or centipede. If you'll raise your mower and leave it there, the grass will get thicker, denser, healthier. You'll have fewer weeds, and the lawn can tolerate the herbicide a little bit better. So if you got a lot of weeds, that's a symptom that you really need to take care of your lawn. The alternative is to go ahead and just mow what grows. You know, most of those wildflowers, except for stickers, are really good for bees and little butterflies and little hoverflies. A lot of pollinators that really depend in February and March because there are not any other flowers out there to feed on. So if you could just mow what grows, unless you got stickers, that's an approach where we're going. I'm actually lecturing on this to lawn care professionals at a conference in North Carolina next week about can we learn to just get along with them. And you want to have I'm not trying to lecture here, a two-tier thing. Have a small area where you control the weeds and you keep it nice and mowed, and then a second area, sort of like a putting green and a fairway, have the bigger area where just mow what grows, and then a smaller area up close to the house or the patio that's nice and neat. That way you can concentrate on doing what's good for perfect lawn in a smaller area, and it'll shine like a gem.
The weed I have that kills me is the mimosa weed.
Oh, boy. Oh, excuse me. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. That comes up, you could put a pre-emerge out in late this month or first part of March, and that'll keep a lot of those seeds from sprouting. The mimosa weed, some people call it chamber bitter. Those seeds start sprouting when it gets a little bit warmer. So you could put a pre-emerge out for those to keep the summer weed seeds from maturing. Problem is that pre-emerge only lasts for a few months, so you need to put it out at least twice, once in late February or first part of March, and again sometime in the middle of the summer because it'll wear out after that. But there's not a good control. I'll tell you right off the bat, there's not a good control for mimosa weed. There's just not. I wish there was. There are some things that'll kill it, but there's enough seeds out there to come back, for years and years and years. So you're going to have to stay on top of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
You bet. Oh, boy. Mimosa weed, that's a tough one. And, folks, it's called mimosa weed because it looks like little mimosa trees. Chamber bitter is another one. It's a little small plant that looks like little mimosa trees. It has balls of seeds on the bottom. It is a real booger bear to control, too. Anyway, if you want to give us a call, it's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. Let me see if we can get us put up a picture out here. This is picture number 8. If we can get Abram to put that up. This is it's not a great picture. I took it the other day. It was overcast, but this is the fire ant mound, Java. Fire ants don't like cold. They don't like wet. So this time of year, they build their mounds up for drainage and to catch sunlight. Well, this one got high enough to where the freeze killed a bunch of the ants. And what fire ants do is they take the dead ants and put them on top. That little dark streak, that's a pile of dead fire ants.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, a lot of times they have a little area right outside the mound, but this one but fire ants get killed by cold. And this time of year, because it's wet, they build their mounds up for drainage and also to catch sunshine to warm them up. That means they're more exposed to certain hard freezes.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah, it was just
because that was a lot of fire ants.
Oh yeah, but I sort of tapped the mound and they came boiling out. It was great.
Oh, so they had plenty more.
Oh, by the way, I just said they come boiling out. I wonder how they put that on the what do you call it?
On the closed caption.
The closed caption. They come boiling out. Can you see the captions?
I'm looking at the YouTube right now. I'm trying to see because it says I sort of tapped them out. It spelled it out.
It's boiling.
Yeah, it just said boiling.
Okay, all right. Well, they're trying. AI is paying attention.
Yeah,
we made a suggestion. They're adjusting accordingly.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm going to be doing a home fruit seminar next Saturday, the 21st in Jackson. I've been doing it for years because I support home fruit, but I talk about plants that look good as yard plants and also make fruit. And there's more than apples and pears and peaches and plums and figs and muscadines and blueberries. There's so many plants that make good yard plants that if you plant them right and you prune them right, they'll also make pretty flowers and also fruit you can eat. So, and there are some that don't have problems with insects and diseases. So, anyway, that's the kind of stuff I'll be talking about. But if you want to call and talk about it now, give us a call, toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. We got some callers on the line, and me and Java are going to take a real quick break. We're going to come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here at Mississippi Public Broadcasting right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you have hated, go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All right, folks, welcome back. Horticulture This is Felder Rushing. Let's jump right into the calls. Let's go to Tylertown and talk to Zach. Zach, you know, the Rushings settled Tylertown back before this was even a state. You know any Rushings down there?
I think I do, Felder. This being a Zach Rushing, I think you knew.
Yeah. We have so many Rushings down there. We have 2 cemeteries because we don't get along.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
What you got going on?
We
What's
get
up?
along a little better than we used to.
Yeah, that's right. What's up?
My question is on the catawba trees and these hot spells. Is it okay to trim them back during a hot spell?
Oh yeah.
Or should we wait till another cool spell comes through?
It's not gonna get so hot that it's not gonna be a big deal. If you wait a little bit, that's okay. But generally, February is a good time. We have warm spells like normal almost all the time, so it wouldn't hurt if it's a pretty day and you just feel like getting out there and pruning to go ahead and do it. And it's not likely that they can put out new growth before the end of next month, end of this month anyway. So I think you'll be okay. It's 2 pretty days just to sit inside, Zach.
Thanks a bunch.
Oh, I got to ask you this: Why do you have catawba worms?
No. I don't have any worms now. They're not budding out or anything.
You just growing them for the flower?
Yeah, they will come back on the trees. Yes.
Yeah, but why you grow them? Just because they're pretty trees?
No. That's catfish bait.
Okay.
And,
okay. You grow them for the worm.
Yeah.
Reason I'm saying because they have among the most exotic flowers. And I mean, I like catawba just for the flower, big old clusters of pale white flowers. So, if people are growing them just for the flowers, you prune them after they get through blooming in the spring. It's okay to wait if you want to.
Okay. I might try a couple and see what happens.
They're awful pretty when they bloom. Leave one of them out there. You'll be amazing. And then when it gets through flowering, you can go ahead and cut that one back, and it'll put out new growth and still have plenty of leaves for the worms.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate your call, man. And Java, I don't know if you're familiar with catawba worms.
Not really.
Well, catawba tree got great big leaves, and there's a moth called the catawba moth. It's like a big old sphinx moth, and it lays eggs, and they hatch into these caterpillars that are as big as your finger. They're got a little horn on the back, like a tomato hornworm, and they're only catawba moth lays eggs on catawba trees for catawba worm. Can't get catawba worms without catawba trees, but they are incredible fish bait. Some people have grows of catawba trees just to grow the caterpillars. So anyway, just oddball thing. The horticulture. There's vermiculture. That's what they're doing. They're growing caterpillars. Anyway, let's slide down to Bay Springs. Talk to Susie. Good morning, Susie. Hello. Are you there, Susie?
Oh, I'm not Susie. I'm Cindy, but if it's my turn, I've got a question.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Howdy.
Okay, I'm putting up a trellis this weekend, and I want to grow a long-blooming, fragrant rose, and I don't know where to start after the trellis. Where do I get a rose like that?
Okay.
And what do I do then?
Okay, you want a climbing rose, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, the good news is we do have some climbing roses that do well, but the bad news is they are real thugs. They will crush a normal arbor. Things like New Dawn. You may have heard of Peggy Martin. Peggy Martin is a real popular pink rose. It's just an incredible bloomer, and it'll bloom heavy in the spring and sort of spritz along the rest of the year. But it gets big, so you're going to have to either have a bigger arbor than you feel comfortable with, which is just right for the rose, or you have to prune it from time to time. But Peggy Martin is going to be one of your best repeat blooming climbers. It's just real big. Let me suggest this, though. There is a rose called butterfly rose, mutabilis. It's called that because the flowers change from red to pink to sort of they change colors. And it blooms all the time, and it's what they call a rambler. You can train it to grow over your arbor. But if you can find one called the butterfly rose or mutabilis, because the flowers mutate in color, that's a really good one because it blooms longer than most of the climbing roses. Got to keep in mind, though, most climbers are not going to bloom heavy except once in the spring. So you might want to think about, having one on one side and then some other kind of vine on the other side to give you flowers later.
I'm trying to block out the sunlight that comes in on the patio.
Yeah. Okay. So this could be more of an arbor, something you can sit under.
No, it's a trellis. It's a metal trellis that goes straight up.
How tall is it?
It'll be like a wall. It's probably 6 foot or more.
Okay, if you can make like a wall along the side of, Peggy Martin is a really good one. It's a real good one. You only need one every 4 or 5 feet because she's real vigorous. It's a real good one. Peggy Martin, if you look it up, you'll be impressed. And a lot of people are selling it now. It's a on root rose. It's not grafted, so it's a really good one. But there are also some other vines. You could grow gourds on there. Have an incredible gourd vine. You could grow a hyacinth bean, moonflower, morning glories. You can grow a whole variety of stuff on that. Which you might want to do this year while your rose gets some size on it. The first year a rose is just going to sort of sit there and grow a little bit. But if you plant a rose out there, go ahead and put you some cypress vine or some gourds or something kind of interesting out there to get you through the first year or two.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
All right. Oh, and there's another vine. You're down close enough to the coast. There's a plant that's called star or Confederate jasmine. It is just an unbelievable, and it's evergreen, real fragrant flowers in spring, but star jasmine, Confederate jasmine, they're the same plant. It's a real good one to cover up an arbor. It grows faster. Then stick your rose in there with it.
Okay. All right. That's what I'll do.
All righty, Cindy. Appreciate it. Let us know how it does.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty, folks, we got some lines open, and I got an interesting little tidbit I'll share a little bit later about Mud Month. I just learned about Mud Month, M-U-D month, but I guess we're coming up on
a month?
Yeah, no, M-O-N-T-H. February is known as Mud Month.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said too, and I looked it up, and it's true, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. It's about time for our tune.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get ready for that.
This is a real cheesy one. We play it every now and then. Cannot play it that often because it's irritating. But it's a Tiny Tim tune. Yeah, that Tiny Tim. Not Tiptoe Through the Tulips. This is called, I forgot the name of it now.
Meet the Sun?
Meet the Sun Halfway. You want a really cheesy tune? If you're not on live stream, if you're on live stream can't hear this, just go online and do Tiny Tim, Meet the Sun Halfway. It'll set your teeth on edge, but it's got a really, really good message. Me and Java and Abram and all the folks here at MPB, we're glad you joined us. We've got some lines open. Got one caller coming in about pruning figs, but give us a call. It's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. What a great weekend to get out and do some stuff out in the yard. So stick with us, folks. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated, go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Felder Rushing, and I got some stuff to follow up from last week, but let's go to the phones and talk with Tom down in Hattiesburg. Morning, Tom. How are you today?
Well, hey, good morning, Felder.
What's up?
Hey, I've got the fig tree cutting time. It's getting to the point where it's about 15, maybe 13 feet high.
Ooh.
You know, so it's time to about to do something. I'm actually, it's about 10 feet tall. But anyway, I go ahead, the pollard places where they pollard, you taught me that word, pollering.
Yeah.
And anyway, they're about to my head, so it's time to cut them, I think. They're about 2 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
And there's like 15 sprouts. So I don't know where to go all the way this time and cut it back all the way down or what. I've got about 5 sprouts coming out that are brand new.
Yeah, coming up from the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, what I would do is I would cut those off about knee high, waist high, something like that, to make them branch out, so that you have a shorter trunk and some lower limbs, and you can go ahead and do that. Anytime you get around to it, wherever you cut them, they put out new growth right there, and that's a good idea. As far as the taller stuff. Figs are kind of unusual. They're sort of like hydrangeas that bloom on new growth, but only if it comes off of last year's growth. You cut a fig or a hydrangea to the ground, they'll sprout back out, but they won't have flowers of figs. So what you do is you follow the tips of those branches that grew last year from the very tip down to where it started back last spring, and you leave a foot or so of that, leaf joints. You leave 3 or 4 or 5 leaf joints of that, and they will sprout out and have long sprouts with figs on them. So as long as you leave some stubs with a few buds on it from the previous year of growth, they'll put out and they'll still make figs. There's no problem with that. I'm doing that this weekend. I've got a fig that I put in my yard. The year I put it out, I cut it down to a foot tall, and it branched out with, I think, 5 branches, and those are now 5 trunks. But every year, I cut all the new growth on those back to leaving some foot-long stubs, and I've got a big old fig bush now that is pretty, but it's easier to pick.
Okay. Well, I've got plenty of those to prune off.
Yeah,
and I put one in the ground one time to root it, and it did good for about 3 years, and then I snipped the top of it off, and it didn't, and it killed it.
Huh.
That's the way stuff goes sometimes.
Yeah, that's just bad luck, because usually it doesn't hurt figs to be pruned. But of course we also have some problems with cold weather. Even though they'll grow up further north, they don't like our sudden hard freezes. That's what gets plants down here. And not the cold, it's the out of the clear blue cold that gets them. But anyway, leave some stubs of last year's growth. Look at the little buds on there. Leave some of those.
All right. One other thing, I had a plant. I stuck some of the plum trees down in my garden one time. This has been about 15 years ago. You said, well, maybe they'll make it. And I said, well, I'm going to try. And anyway, they grew for about 15 years. And I finally cut them down. They never bloomed, and they just were diseased. But I tried that, sticking even that and the peach tree in the ground. Did not work real well.
No, it doesn't.
But I called you about 15 years on that.
Yeah.
But, I sure appreciate all of it. Yeah. And another thing, that scarlet vine, too, the scarlet vine, what am I trying to say? But sorry, but it's a good one too for trellises. Anyway,
the coral honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle.
Yeah, that's a great. It's a great native one, and hummingbirds love it. And it's what I call a mannerly vine. It's not going to take over. And the plums that didn't make it. You're down in. You're right at the top of the bottom third of the state, and there's a lot of peaches and plums and apples and pears. They just need more cold in the winter, as they're not going to You must have had a northern variety.
Well. They just don't root in the ground, just stick in the stick in the ground.
No, they don't.
But another, the 5-star jasmine, I just watch out for the seeds, because I had one and now I've got them coming up everywhere.
Yeah.
And, it kind of looks a lot like the Clematis type. Or I think that the little flower, and it's getting up in there, and it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah. But, mine may see. It's a really interesting seed pod. It's a long, skinny seed pod. It splits open into like a Y, and it's just loaded with seeds. I noticed that on mine this year.
Yeah, that 5-star. Yeah. So I had just when they get ready to seed, you want to take care of those and get them where they don't be a problem.
Well, all right, Sir Tom. We appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you.
We got the lines open, folks. Got plenty of time to chat, so you want to give us a call. It's a good chance to just do a little chin wagging. Toll free 1-877 MPB ring. If I could get Abram to put up another picture. This is picture number 7 in Java. 2 things. We have this plant called sago. Some people call it sago palm. It's not a palm. It looks like a palm, and their leaves turn brown. If you get a hard freeze, the leaves turn brown. And most people just cut them off. I'm thinking if you're going to cut them off anyway, why not spray paint them? And this is somebody who spray painted theirs Mardi Gras colors.
Now that's all right.
Yeah,
they knew what time it was.
Yeah, I mean I've spray painted a red before, but if you're going to cut them off later anyway, why not just have a little fun? But anyway, they got their sago palm done in I don't know what color. I must say purple and gold and maybe green or something.
Yeah, the traditional kind of Mardi Gras colors. I would try to say Lombard wrong. I can't. I'm not going to try.
I'm the same way. Hey, I'd like to see how the I keep forgetting what the words at the bottom of the page. What do you call them?
What you mean? The closed
captions. I like to see how they did your version of French.
Well, who knows? But speaking of the closed caption and the live stream, this is kind of right on time, because somebody, let's see, this is Mary, and she sent in a question. Good morning. I'm wanting to do some landscaping around my pool. Looking for some suggestions for tropical looking, but not tropical climate. They can something that can survive year round in central Mississippi type plants.
That's a good question. When I think of tropics, and I've done a good bit of work in tropics. I mean, the equator from South America, Africa. I spent a lot of time in tropical stuff and subtropics like Miami and Southern California and places like that. And in general, tropical. When we think tropical, we think of big bold foliage. We think of big flowers. She could grow this Chinese hibiscus that's got real big flowers. You see those along the Gulf Coast down in Florida, but the Chinese hibiscus got really big, pretty flowers. They grow great in containers. Got to bring it in, unless you live on the coast, you got to bring it in the wintertime. But anything with big foliage, there's I'm thinking elephant ears, bananas. They die down in the wintertime, but those can give you really good looks. And get this, when you're out at the pool, but it's important because they don't have a lot of leaf litter. They're not going to drop stuff in the pool, but there's so many plants. The trick is to mix stuff up, and big and colorful, and also use hard features. You could use artificial stuff. Matter of fact, this is where our pub talk the other night. Some lady came in, actually an attorney friend of mine came in, and he said his wife went nuts because I told her it was okay to put fake plants in her house. And she came over and she said, I went to Hobby Lobby and got all these plants to put on our front porch, and they look great. And somebody says, how can a horticulturist recommend fake plants? We don't call them fake, we call them synthetic. And I've got some synthetic plants. I got 2 of them in my house, and they are fantastic. They look great. They look real, and they're in places where real plants won't grow. So it's okay to, synthetic plants have their place. And some people say, oh, you can't do shut up. We're just trying to we're trying to have something that's pretty, that's interesting, that makes us feel good. Sometimes live plants just won't cut it, especially on the front porch. So anyway, synthetic plants, if you're going to go with it, try to find something that looks fairly realistic, and they got some pretty good ones out there. Anyway, I got another picture to put up. Picture number 10. I think this is an interesting thing. A lot of people, Java, they're planting fruit trees, and they're planting lemons and grapefruit and oranges and satsumas and stuff in their yard. And if you live north of the coast very far, a lot of times they freeze. They just don't like it. They freeze in Florida sometimes. So if you're going to grow these kind of things, it's good to keep them in pots where you can bring them indoors. One of my favorites, by the way, is one with lots and lots of little small orange-looking things. It's called a kumquat. Produces well, looks great in a pot, easy to handle. But sometimes people plant their citrus trees and the freeze kills it and the rootstock sprouts out and it grows. And we're talking about even up in North Mississippi. The rootstock typically is one of two plants. One is called trifoliate orange. They got lots of thorns, green stems, lots of thorns, and the leaves have 3 leaflets. Most citrus have just a single leaf. These have 3 leaflets, and they have small golf ball size, kind of orangish yellow flowers. But there's another one, they're all seeds. It's just not worth doing anything with them. There's another, though, a rootstock that's a cross between the trifoliate orange and a grapefruit. It's a hybrid, and a guy named Swingle came up with it, and he started grafting regular citrus on these, and if it sprouts out, it also has 3 leaflets like the trifoliate orange, but it has large, much bigger than my fist size, look like lemons. And some people, they say they got a lemon tree in their yard, or they've got a satsuma tree in their yard. We're talking about Greenwood or Jackson, and it's not going to be a satsuma. It's not going to be a lemon. It's going to look like it. This is the rootstock, and it's called, this is a weird name, it's called citrumelo. I don't know why. Maybe mellow yellow, citrus mellow yellow, but citrumelo is a rootstock of, and if the top part dies and you got a citrumelo rootstock, it will sprout out and makes a handsome tree. It'll even produce fruit up in North Mississippi. It'll even grow into Tennessee, but citrumelo, interesting plant. It is a citrus. It doesn't have a lot of flesh in it. You got to get through a lot of sticky white stuff to get to it. But the flesh in there tastes sort of like grapefruit. So anyway, we don't live in citrus country. If you live north of Hattiesburg, even Hattiesburg is going to be a real gamble. But citrumelo is one of those yard trees that actually has really fragrant white flowers. It's got interesting fruit that's edible, but they're mostly ornamental. Anyway, just to throw that. People say, I got a lemon tree. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Come look at it. My granddad planted it, and I go up there, and wow, from a distance, it looks like a lemon tree. Get up close, got 3 leaflets. It's citrumelo.
Now, speaking of just throwing stuff out there, we did have a question come in, and I don't think I've ever seen this question. It's about water lilies.
Yeah.
And let's see, it's like, is it okay to toss fresh seeds into the wild for water lilies? Like, is it okay to plant colorful water lilies and lotus flowers in open access creeks and lakes? It's a 2-part. One, is it ethical to toss fresh seeds into the wild, or should I be cautious? And then 2, if it is okay, when is the best time to plant, and how deep should the water be?
That's a really good question. And a matter of fact, sometime I need to get a guest on here to talk about water gardening. When it comes to, first of all, lotus grows out at the reservoir in Jackson, Rankin County. Those shallow areas, they got lotus growing out there. They got big leaves come up above the water, and they got the pretty flowers. So lotus is normally cold hardy, at least in central Mississippi. But as far as the water lilies, two things. First of all, there are tropical water lilies, which are the really, really pretty ones. They'll freeze outside. And then we have native water lilies that do great. They do perfectly well here. So you need to make sure you've got a native. And go online. There's plenty of information on that about cold hardy water lilies, native water lilies. I don't know that just throwing the seed out there is the best way to start them. I think it might be better to start them in little pots and then set them out there. So that's my general thing. Second thing is you're never going to find water lilies in a creek. They're always in lakes. They need still water. They need a certain, not shallow water, not deep water. Their roots are in the ground. Leaves come up on stems and float on the surface. So you have to have fairly shallow, still water. So most of the water lilies not going to do well, except unless you got a little shallow area in the lake. And as long as you go with some of the natives, I mean, they can be quite daunting if you're a fisher. If you like to fish, a lot of good fish live in there, but it's a good way to lose a lure too. But anyway, I would stick with the cold hardy kinds. I would put them in a little eddy or some still water. And I don't know the best way to sprout them, whether you start them in little pots in water, I just don't know. Have to look that one up. I've always bought them.
So you won't have those water lilies, you see in the movies or something, the pinks and the whites. And,
yeah, you can grow those, but they have to be, and you can actually grow some of those in Mississippi, but and they go dormant in the wintertime. Some of the tropicals will do okay, but the really big, pretty ones are mostly tropical.
Okay.
So,
I thought that was a pretty interesting question. I don't think I've ever had a question about water lilies come across the show.
There you go. My water gardens, I don't put plants in my water gardens. I've got two good-sized water gardens. I've had a huge one before. I mean, 10, 12 feet across. But there are a lot of trouble. I got to clean that's one of my chores to do the next week or two. I got to drain them, get all that gunk out of the bottom, all the dead tree leaves and just the nasty stuff, and fill them with clear water. But I don't put plants in mine because I can grow plants in dirt. I like the water because I like the way it looks. I like how it reflects the sky. It brings light down in my garden. I like the little splashy water fountain I've got. I like the movement. But I don't want to go to the trouble of putting a water garden out there and filling it with plants when I could just put plants in the dirt. So what I do is I put plants around the edges of mine and let the water be, the signature thing. It's a water garden, not an aquatic plant garden. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's just my opinion. We got some real good expert water garden people here in Mississippi. And I'd like to get one of them, a good friend of mine named Donna. I'd like to get her on the program sometime to talk about that. And by the way, my water garden, I didn't dig a hole, Java.
What you do?
When you dig a hole, first of all, it's a lot of trouble, and then you got to find a place to put all that dirt, right? So what I did was I dug a little bit of a hole, 3 or 4 inches deep, and I put that dirt around the edge of the hole, and I just sank one of these big old bucket things down in the middle of it. Yeah. One of mine is a horse trough, an 8-foot diameter horse trough, and it's mostly sitting on top of the ground. I can level it up real easy, and I can plant stuff around. I spray paint it with 2 or 3 different colors of brown and green. It looks kind of rusty, but I didn't have to dig a hole.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I knew you had the water, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of up high.
If you have to have one that's, a big one, here's my record. This is going to sound strange. This is pure Felderall here. Dig half a hole so it's partly sunk, and then the dirt that comes out, put around the edge to raise it up like a levee, and then do your water garden on top of that so you got a whole hole, but it only goes in the ground half a hole deep. Partly sunk, partly raised. Put that dirt around the edge, and not only is it easier, and then you just lay your liner over the top of it, cover that up with rocks or wood or something like that. But also, when we get these gully washing rains, these frog strangling rains, it doesn't blow all your fish out on the lawn. So partly sunk, partly raised, you only dig half a hole that way. And if you ever get tired of it, you already got the dirt there to fill the hole back in.
Yeah.
I dug one in the ground one time, dug it, 18 inches deep, half killed myself, and every time it rained, all the stuff blew out onto the lawn. So anyway, partly sunk, partly raised. whole lot easier, just as effective. Then plant you some plants around the edge of it. So there's that.
Now, Felder, we do have another question from the YouTube that I didn't get to, but our good friend Timothy from right here in Jackson, he actually gave a nice little answer, and I want to put this question to you and see if you come up with the same kind of.
Oh boy! Okay, Timothy, TK the Third, I call him.
Okay, this is from Gene, and it says, "Hello from Mobile. I had porterweed for the first time last year, which pollinators loved, but it has died back this winter. Any chance it will return in the spring, or should I plan to buy some new ones?"
Yeah, get a new one.
Oh, okay. Just
What did Timothy say?
Well, Timothy, he gave a little personal experience. He said, "I had a porterweed come back in Jackson last year, though it was slow to grow." And he put slow in all caps.
Yeah.
And he said, "Down your way, I'd keep an eye out until May," because she's in. Well, Jean is in Mobile.
Yeah, this is a good chance. Porterweed, and I wish it had a better name. It's a beautiful plant. It's an annual here in central Mississippi. It sends out these long stems with big leaves and skinny spikes with the smallest little tubular flowers, and huge hummingbirds would just hang off of. It's one of the best pollinator plants I've ever seen, but usually it freezes. On the coast, it might not. I would cut it back and scratch the bark if it's bright green under the bark and the bark hadn't split. Good chance it'll come on back, especially on the coast. Mine always freeze. I plant porterweed every year. I wish it had a better name because weed just had bad connotations. But anyway, I scratch the bark. If it's bright green, I'd cut it back a little bit, maybe mulch it if we have another freeze, and it could come back. But anyway, congratulations, TK the Third, if yours came back, because mine never does. It never does.
Now, how often is that little trick, where you scratch out? Because you said that on several plants and flowers, scratching that bark back and seeing that kind of green.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't know if Abram can get in close to this or not. Of course, I chew my fingernails, so I can't scratch the bark.
Because on the outside it'll be all brown and things, you know.
Just scratch the bark, and there's a little layer of tissue right under the bark. It's green. That's the cambium. That's the only living part. The inside of a stem is old wood, is dead wood. But that little bright green tissue right under the bark, that's the living part. And you just scratch on any kind of shrub. If you don't have fingernails, use a little knife, just a little scrape. And if it's bright green, that means it's alive. If it's brown, it's gone. And keep scratching down till you get the green stuff. And that's how I decide if I'm gonna cut a plant back or not. If it's brown, it looks bad. If it's scratched the bark is green, you can prune it back and it'll sprout back out.
It's a neat trick to have in the toolbox.
I'll bring some next week and talk about it. And by the way, I mentioned Mud Month. This is something I'd never heard of this before. Let me see if I can find it here. Felder, here we go. Maybe second month of the year, corresponding roughly with the Roman month of February, was called Solmonath. Solmonath. Monath is the Old English word for month, and the direct ancestor for a modern English word month. Sol is the Old English word for mud. Some people, like we think sun. Solar month can prosaically be translated as mud month, which is anybody's ever walked across a field this time of year knows what they're talking about. Anyway, some people thought sol, S-O-L, should be translated as earth or soil rather than mud. So solar month might have been less prosaic, meaning earth month or the month when the earth was honored. Anyway, February, mud month. Never heard that before.
Now, I did see something because every day is a day, every month is a month. Now, that mud month has a more historical connotation.
Did you just look something up while I was talking?
Of course, in the Google machine.
Your nimble fingers and your attitude.
International Mud Month is celebrated in June, and it's all about encouraging people to reconnect with nature through outdoor activities involving mud. So that's something a little different.
And interesting, I work with children's gardens. I helped design one at Epcot. I work with children's gardens coast to coast. Wrote a couple of books on that. And a lot of the big children's gardens got an area, a long, skinny place that's got it's like a little trough, and they put different kinds of of material to walk on. They'll have rocks, they'll have gravel, they'll have shale, and sometimes they have mud. So kids can walk and feel these different things through their feet. Gravel, kind of crunchy, shale, bark, but they'll always have a little area that's just mud. And kids love to take their shoes off and get squishy mud between their toes. I would not suggest doing that in our mud month because it's cold out there. And you also have to worry about ringworms and stuff like that. But anyway, they always have a place at the end of it for kids to wash their feet off.
But that's also why, you have to, I don't want to say have grace, but just like kind of let a kid be a kid if they're, quote unquote, air quotes, helping you in the garden. Just let them, kind of put their fingers in the dirt and just get a little dirty and all that kind of stuff.
It's a real sensual thing. A lot of people forget that what we see and smell and hear aren't the only things, but how things feel. Having slick things and furry things and all like that. But also, when I'm digging in the dirt this time of year, and I'm planting a few things. I'm going to plant my potatoes next month. I'm actually chitting them. I don't know if you can get a close-up on this, but I got me some little potatoes, some Irish potatoes, and I'm going to cut them today. But if you'll notice on the end, they've already got these little the sprouts. They're starting to sprout out. That's going to be the potato plants. So what I'll do is I'll take this potato and I'll cut it into 2 or 3 pieces, each one with some of these little sprouts on there. And then when it dries real good, I put it, and that's where the plant will grow. But when you cut potatoes into small pieces to sprout out, that's called chitting, chitting. And I've said this before, but that's where that old pirate expression comes from. What you doing this weekend? I'll be chitting me taters.
Chitting me taters.
Chitting me taters. And pre-sprouting my peas. So anyway, this is a good time of year to start onions, potatoes. Get you started with some English or edible pod type peas. Start you some lettuce in little pots, and if we get a hard freeze, drag them in just for that time. But it's a good time to plant cool season things. A little early, a couple of weeks for broccoli and cabbage and stuff because we might get a freeze. And it's time to start thinking about starting your summer plants if you like to grow peppers and tomatoes and stuff like that from seed. But anyway, always something to do, always something to enjoy. There's camellias, there's dandelions. Make you a bouquet. Take a kid outside, wiggle your fingers in the dirt, show them how to do what we do best. And that's just get out and touch and smell and feel the sun on your hands. It's just a good time to not anticipate spring, but seize the day. Seize the day. That's part of Gestalt, folks. And me and Java Chapman and all the other folks at MPB here in Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we appreciate you letting us join us today. Stick with us, folks. We'll be back next week with more of the Gestalt. Hey, see some of y'all on YouTube.